Okay, so Luke wants to see if his desk will fit in this space here. And notice what they say about the desk, it's exactly 2000 millimeters, okay? So there's no sort of change in that, there's no greatest or least values there because they're giving you the exact measurement, okay? However, there are sort of variations with the wall, bookcase, of wardrobe, because these have been measured, haven't they, to the nearest something. So in the case of the wall, it's been measured correct to the nearest 10 centimeter. So ultimately, if you see that nearest 10 centimeter, they've used a tape measure or something that's going up in 10 centimeters. Okay, so you could see here what I've done here. This would be my tape measure. They've actually said it's closer to 600. Okay, so we'll be looking at there what the greatest would be. Okay, well, if you think about it, because it's nearest 10 centimeters, the tape measure is going up in tens. So the next value on the tape measure will be 610, which would mean then the greatest would be halfway between these two. So 605 is what we're going to circle here. Okay, that's the greatest it could be, so that it rounds to 600. Part B then says, what's the least possible length of the wardrobe? Well, if you look at the wardrobe, it's 250 centimeters, correct to the nearest 1 centimeter. So in that case, okay, because it's to the nearest 1 centimeter, the tape measure they're using here is going up in 1 centimeters. Okay, so the 251 would be the measure after, 249 would be the measure before. So the least it could be is halfway between these measures here, so that it would round up to 250. Okay, so that's the least it could be. Anything less than that would round to 249. So the value there, of course, halfway between these two will be 249.5. Okay, so now in the second part, they're asking, can he be certain that the desk will fit in the space available? So, you know, when we look at the space here, okay, essentially, we want to know, can we be certain that you can get a 2000 millimeter desk in that gap there? Now, for us to be certain, we've got to consider the worst case scenario, okay? Now, if we think about what the worst case scenario would be, of course, the worst case scenario would be that this wardrobe is at its biggest, okay? So it is biggest length, and the same for the bookcase at its biggest. So what would the biggest be for the wardrobe? Well, if I go back down to what I did here for the wardrobe, the biggest possible could be there, couldn't it? 250.5. Okay, 250.5 centimeters. So it's as wide as it possibly can be. That's the worst case scenario. The bookcase, well, similar for the bookcase, 147, correct to the nearest centimeter. So the biggest it can be is 147.5 centimeters. So we're going to see then, will this fit in? But again, think about the worst case scenario. Okay, the wall. What are we going to take for the wall? Are we going to take the greatest possible size or the least possible size? For the worst possible scenario, we've got to think that the wall is at its smallest, so it's least, which will be that value there, yeah? So, because we were going up in tens, the measure on the tape be 590, the one in the middle there be 595, okay? So that's the value we're going to take there. So quite simply, if we've got these two here, okay, and the wall is 595, can we fit this in here? Well, let's do the maths to see if it will work, okay? What I think I'm going to do, I think I'm going to add up all of these to see if it will fit it within there, 595. If it doesn't, then we know that you can't be certain, okay, in the worst case scenario. So first of all, let's add them up now. Before we do that, we've got to think about this because these are in millimeters, okay, so we need to change the units there. So remember, because 1 centimeter is 10 millimeters, okay, the length of the desk, well, that is 2000 millimeters, but there are going to be every 10 millimeters in there is worth a centimeter. So if we divide by 10, we can work out then that that's 200 centimeters. Okay, so I've got, going back to this, I've got 200 centimeters. Okay, so if I add these three together, and let's see if it will fit in there. So I've got 250.5, 200. Well, we put 200.0, so it's nice to add up, and then 147.5. So you can see I'm always referring back to the diagram, and it's good to do that, draw on the diagram, because it helps you see It helps you see the steps that you need to take. So add these up here, that comes to 10, so 0, carry 1. Add that up there, that's 7, isn't it? 0, 0, 7 is 7, plus the 1 is 8. Add them there is 9, and add them there is 5. So the total length of the 3 pieces of furniture will become 598 centimeters when you consider the sort of worst case scenario for their greatest lengths. Okay, for their greatest lengths. Now you can clearly see by what we saw before, this is more than the least wall length, so in the sense you can't be certain there. So we just make a little statement, this is greater than the least wall length of 595 centimeters. It's important you put all these values in, right? It's no good just saying least wall length, you need to say what it is, okay? I mean, we stated it over in the diagram, which should be enough to be honest, but put it in the conclusion as well, okay, so it's clear. So we've got this here, so we say, so you can't be certain, essentially. Can't be certain that it'll fit in.